This is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 6 of
Pero Let Me Tell You. I forgot how that goes.
Is it oh my god, she starts it in French. That's why I brought that up. And she's like lo siento.
Sorry. I don't want to hear. Are we recording?
We are recording.
Well, everyone, welcome to episode 270 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Yes, 270. We are only 30 away from 300.
Oh my gosh! But that'll be next year.
I know, but
yeah, I was I don't have now the energy to be thinking of
an anniversary episode.
Now that I said energy, I thought about Beyonce. Oh, you don't know that song?
No,
you don't know Big Energy?
I mean, I've probably heard it, but maybe not because
energy. You haven't heard it? That's the mute challenge.
Oh yeah, no.
Look around, everybody. I'm mute. Oh man, the mute challenge is so fun. Well, welcome everybody to Pero Let Me Tell You.
Yes,
we hope everybody had a good weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, like for those of you who've been to Beyonce's Renaissance tour,
and now can't afford your mortgage.
The mute challenge. There's a song that she has, Big Energy, on her album. That there's a part where she goes, "Everybody down in the club will know what to do. Look around, everybody. I'm mute," and then. When she says that, everybody is supposed to go on mute and be quiet. Now, I know what you're going to say. Oh, because since you don't care for Beyonce,
you've been quiet for a second.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Put that as a special skill on the
Beyonce
resume.
is not the one who started that. That was started by the fans. Right. So that's why, when she first started her tour in Europe, in the first probably dozen shows, people were singing and dancing.
Right.
So that was a fan thing, and then she went along with it. Mm-hmm. So now it's it becomes a challenge.
That's part of the show.
What city is going to outdo the other city? So it's just a fun thing because you're in a stadium with 60, 70,000 people, and literally everybody goes on mute. But you always have that one girl that's and it's shut up.
This is my time to shine.
Yeah, when she came here, I was like, do it. Miami's going to fuck up the mute challenge. But we did pretty good.
We're not good on being quiet.
Latinos. We're not. But we did actually pretty good. We weren't Atlanta, but Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, you could hear a pin drop. Those people were not playing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it was a fun thing to do. So whatever, Be mute, games. Have fun, jump up and down,
That was out of context. That's great. Be mute, have fun, jump up and down.
That reminded me of that joke. What's funnier than a mime trapped in a box? No, a mime. No, never mind. I ruined the joke.
Yeah, you ruined the joke.
What's funnier than a mime pretending to be trapped in a box?
A mime actually trapped in a box.
I got that from a Geico commercial.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure it was a Geico commercial. I mean, there's been some really good Geico commercials throughout the years.
Oh my god!
What's been your favorite?
There's actually one right now that I love, which is the DIY house.
Yeah,
and it has the Murphy tub at the end.
I don't think I've seen it.
So these people are it's with a realtor, and they're like, oh, that the owner loves to do DIY projects. So it's instead of a stairs, it has a slide. The electricity in the house is powered by a chinchilla in a wheel, and so you see it, whatever. And they're like, oh, and it's a Murphy tub. Right. So it's a bathtub full of water, and they fold it into the wall, and then the water comes down, and I'm like, that's pretty funny.
A Murphy tub.
I thought that was funny. I thought it was clever.
I'm sure somewhere somebody thinks that's a thing.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad as long as you drain it first. I mean, I don't know how the logistics of it would work.
I love that with Progressive, Flow became a thing.
Oh,
I love that Progressive hasn't gotten rid of Flow.
No, a contrario, they've expanded.
Yeah,
they've expanded her and and it's funny to me because I know the reason they brought in additional characters is because they're okay, eventually this woman's gonna want to leave, and we'll at least have introduced these characters. She's not going anywhere. No, she's good.
No, I remember a few years ago, because of my work, I had to go to the headquarters of Progressive, and they had a cutout of Flo, and I actually got really excited. I took a picture with it. I was like, oh my god, it's Flo. But you know, it's funny
She's
that
an easy Halloween costume too.
she is. Yeah. She is. But like Mira and Geico and Progressive, who would have ever thought that? Like,
That's true. They would have iconic.
right, and State Farm, even Jake from State Farm.
That's right.
Well, I mean, Jake from State Farm, which is the red shirt with the khakis. To me, that's not State Farm. That's Target.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Also, if you show up to Target wearing an outfit like that, you're asking for it.
And you remember the original Jake from State Farm? What it was?
It was a different guy.
It was a different guy that the wife was like, "Who are you talking to?" And he was like, "Jake from State Farm." And she's like, "I'm sure she's hideous." And he was like, "Well, she's a guy."
Yeah, actually, so that guy, the original Jake from State Farm, was an actual State Farm employee.
Oh yeah.
That what they did initially was they did a casting call within the company to find the guy to play Jake. And the intention was for him to just be like in one commercial. That's why they eventually replaced it with an actual actor, because they couldn't build a campaign around somebody who couldn't act.
Right.
You know, so that's why they had the switch.
Right. But I mean, it's who would have thought that insurance companies were like on their A game with like
Iconography. Yeah. Like these mascots.
Yeah. And even Allstate with the guy who is the Trouble.
With Trouble. Yeah.
The guy who messes up everything.
And Farmer.
We love farmers. Dun, ba-da-dun, dun, 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 dun. I always think of Neil Patrick Harris.
Why?
Because when the guy from Farmers won the Academy Award, the actor.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons.
Right, that he won an Academy Award. When they came back from commercial, he goes, he just won an Oscar. Pum, pa-dum, pum, 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 pum. You don't remember that?
No, I don't.
Oh, yeah. That was a moment. Insurance companies, like, who would have thought that?
Who would have thought we'd dedicate about 6 minutes
to insurance companies, but here we are. Oh, yeah, you know, I kind of wanted to bring up the whole thing with Lizzo. I know we have talked about it before, when it really...
I'm just going to open...
Oh, did you hear that?
That sounded great.
We're opening up a can of Cawy because nothing is more refreshing and crisp
than
my
Cawy Lemon-Lime.
Which, by the way, it's really, really good. It's really good, especially like really, really cold.
Especially when we're outside frying chicken.
Yes, really, really cold. It is... I always like when I would hear people say, "Oh, this soda is so crisp." I'm like, "What does crisp really mean?" But that's what it means. That's what Cawy means, crisp, and now I know what it is.
Yes,
yeah,
full circle.
Yeah, we're not sure. That's like what I always tell you. What's turron? And you say nougat. And I'm like, "What's nougat?" And you're like, turron.
I don't know.
I really wasn't sure what they meant when they said crisp for a soda, but that is it.
Now you are.
That is it. But anyway, so I brought up Lizzo again because there's somebody else who made allegations against her this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's somebody else, a designer, I think, that worked with her.
Oh.
And Hulu has put out a documentary.
Hulu's got all these documentaries like...
Hulu put out a documentary, which obviously they interview and they speak to. I have not seen it, full disclosure.
Okay.
But from what I have seen, and I have seen the trailer, they are talking with obviously the people who sued her and people that are making these allegations against her and all that. And you know, I'm very fair when it comes down to these things. Right. I always believe you got to listen to the alleged victims and you got to hear people's stories. Right. You know, we also know that there's 3 sides to every story: yours, mine, and the truth. The truth many times is in the middle. You know, I don't know enough about this to have one opinion, you know, one way or the other. Right. I'm sure that something really did happen there. At very minimum, something happened there. Whether it was Lizzo or the people that work for Lizzo that were treating the employees the way they allegedly did.
I think at bare minimum, it's like what we had talked about initially, where they were in Amsterdam at like a strip show, and to me again, like I said, I think at that moment Lizzo forgot she's the boss,
right?
And she thought she was out with a night with the girls type of situation, and no, you are never not in charge, right? At bare minimum.
So, but that's really the reason I wanted to bring it up is because, obviously with my training, my legal training, and attorney or legal mind, I always think like, how can this have a legal ramification, or how
the documentary?
Yes, how can this affect a jury or a jury pool, so on and so forth. So I just think that, and again, I haven't seen the documentary, but I feel that a lot of times these shows or these documentaries are very quick to be published.
Extremely quick.
And, you're judging someone and you're throwing somebody out in the court of public opinion, which, as we know, is it's sometimes even worse than legal court, than an actual court of law. And I don't, again, I want to say it again. I have not seen the documentary, but I just thought it was like a little premature. I'm like, this case isn't even in discovery yet. And we're already making a documentary.
So there's no evidentiary
At least, I mean, this case was just filed.
Right,
so
right.
I imagine that they're starting discovery now, taking depositions or requesting depositions. Because, requesting a deposition and actually deposing somebody can take a year. Especially if that person is a celebrity. But do you think that that's something that we just do nowadays in terms of, I'm talking about programming and mention it to you is like, do you think we're just too quick to jump the gun and have these documentaries which could have a profound effect on the way that somebody sees somebody else and just screw the a court of law. We're gonna go for
public opinion,
and if this makes good TV and we're going to get ratings, and so be it. Like, I feel that happens a lot now.
That does happen a lot. And I think a lot of it has to do with something we've talked about here many times before, which is the speed at which content now must be consumed, right? And you have to remember, and I'll use a show like Entertainment Tonight, right? Remember when Entertainment Tonight was the be-all, end-all of entertainment news?
Mary Hart and John Tesh
were breaking news, right? That was once a day at 7:00 at night. That's where you got your entertainment news. Maybe during the the local news, they'd have like a little pop culture segment.
Listen, I still remember when Extra was new.
Right. Yeah. Oh, actually, Access Hollywood. To me, Access Hollywood is still the rookie, right? That was where you got this type of stuff. But now, by the time even that documentary that you saw, or we'll call it a documentary on Hulu, by the time that came out, that was already old news because between TMZ.com, between the Daily Beast, social media, pick one, right? They've all basically just been putting it out there. So nowadays, it's just what you were saying. I need to get the content. I need to get out there. I need to get the ratings. I need to get the eyeballs. And it has really just made it so that it doesn't matter if you even have any evidence. I've seen some of these, not the one about Lizzo. I've seen some of these that are put out so quick that it's literally just people saying things like, well, what they might say. Well, what I think could happen. Well, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, so you don't even have a show here.
Right.
You just have a bunch of people conjecturing as to what could maybe kind of sort of, if we're lucky, might happen.
Right.
Right? It's insane to me that the speed at which we need to do things, quote unquote, just to stay relevant, to keep the eyeballs on you, on us, right? The content creator, versus actually finding the actual story and taking the time to do it. Even full on actual documentaries. I think growing up, when a documentary would come out, it was maybe about 5 to 10 years after something happened, give or take, right? Nowadays, literally before something has, and I'm talking like full-on production documentaries, like, a film released in theater type of documentary, etc. I think now actually the perfect example of this would probably be the Fyre Festival. The Fyre Festival happened, and I think within about a year and a half, we actually had the documentaries on the Fyre Festival. It's just, I don't know if it's that our attention spans have gotten so short nowadays as well, that it's like, we need to make sure we crank this out while people still remember it, because the fact of the matter is that if we wait 2 years as opposed to a year and a half, we're old news. Nobody's going to remember. Nobody's going to care. And I don't know if that's the case that we're just looking at. That's just the world we live in right now.
Well, let's not forget the Fyre Festival had 2 documentaries.
Well, there you go. That's
it's probably going to have a third.
Right. But that's what I mean. Like, that's actually, thank you for bringing that up. That's even more important, because it's like, we don't need 1. We need 2.
Yeah.
Right. I'm glad there were 2.
Oh, I consume that.
I'll consume 4 if there's 2 more that come out afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give me a documentary just about the pigs, and I'll watch that. Like, I don't care. It's just the world we live in now, kind of, I think, was what you're saying, and I agree with you.
Yeah. So, I don't know. With the whole Lizzo thing, I mean, I've said it. I said it before here. Ahí pasó algo. I always like to give people sometimes the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I'm trying not to be biased because I really like her, and I've always said, she has really good energy. I mean, maybe she really is a witch.
Right, maybe she's a horrible human being.
Horrible human being. But I think that obviously before we go ahead and make this serious attack on her, I believe in the legal process, so we need to really see what happened and all that, and I think that that's fair for everybody.
No, yeah, absolutely.
On both sides and both ends. I mean, it's about fairness at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. So, changing topics a little bit quickly, you saw the writers' strike is over.
Yes.
The WGA strike is over. And did you see any of the conditions of?
I have not.
Of the contract at all?
I have not at all.
So one of it was a whole laundry list of things, and I'm not going to get into it. But as someone who's a marketer, there was a particular part of it that I found very interesting, and I do want to bring it up because I actually posted about it, oddly enough, on my LinkedIn of all things. Because there was a part of the contract, and I'm looking it up here. So it says, another important issue on the table was streaming residuals, which had previously been notoriously difficult to come by for writers. Streaming services now must share statistics about streaming data with the WGA, and for shows and movies that are viewed by 20% of a streaming service's subscribers within 90 days, writers will be compensated with significant residual bonuses. I love that part because, as I've said many times here on this show, streamers love to stand up on the pulpit and say, we've had the best, most of everything ever. No one has ever watched more than what we put out this weekend. Well, okay, what are the numbers? Well, we're not going to share those with you.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're saying no, but they were big. Trust me, right? But what's the number? Well, it's a big number, right? But it's a big one.
Just go with us.
Just trust me on it. It's a big number. It's bigger than one, right? So I love that this is a stipulation of the contract. Number one, because it's only fair for the writers, and I'm assuming the actors will probably get some type of similar, a bargaining chip when it comes down to it. But I want to see that turned into something though for advertising. Because right now, Netflix has an ad-supported service. Hulu's been ad-supported. Peacock. I think Amazon Prime is about to go ad-supported as well. And the beauty of it is that right now, for the most part, they kind of go, well, this is what we're charging. Okay, great, but let me see the numbers. Well, that's proprietary. Now, the flip side of it is there might be an NDA attached to the writer's situation of it, but I want to see those numbers. I just want to know, because you can't stand there and tell me you're super successful, but then you say you have no money. But then when I ask you for the numbers, you don't have it. I know I sound like a broken record, but like I feel like like when you watch Behind the Music of Selena and you're like, where's the box? Yolanda's box. Like I want the box.
I'm just agreeing with what you say. I really don't know anything that you're talking about. I'm just looking at you. I am. I don't really know what you just said. Yeah. I mean, you got very passionate about what you were talking about, and I'm like, do I really care? I don't want to be that person that's like, I don't care. I don't want to be that person. Actually, you know what I don't want to be? I don't want to be that person in the Only in Dade section that commented about RBD.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to kindly school.
Yes.
So that went back, listeners.
Yes, that's true.
RBD was here in Miami this past week, and they sold out the arena for like 2 or 3 nights.
Yeah.
Huge. RBD is enormous,
especially
here with such a big Latin American, fan base. Huge here. I mean, I have to tell you, I can't say I was a huge RBD fan.
But I know who they are.
I know several of their songs. I have a bunch of their songs on my playlist. Yeah. I was kind of like, I kind of want to go. I kind of want to go. There's a part of me that sort of wants to go. I mean, I wasn't going to fork out any considerable amount of money for their tickets. Yeah. But it's funny because somebody was like, I've never heard of them, and I was born and raised in Miami. And I'm like, I kindly said, well...
Yeah. Were you born 5 years ago?
Between 2005 and 2010, they were the largest act in probably the world.
Definitely Latin America.
They were huge in Latin America, in Asia, and Europe. They sold millions and millions of albums. They had one of the longest running soap operas of all time. They were idols, and they toured the world, and they were enormous. So, yeah, that's who they were. But, yeah, if you didn't know them, that's great. That's
and again, why did they feel the need to comment? It's a question.
So
it's a question we ask all the time.
You know what? Something I actually wanted to mention here, and I say this with much love because we love Only in Dade.
Right.
and we've had Only in Dade on the show.
Yep.
And I mean, we love what they do. We love the content.
Yep.
I mean, Only in Dade has become a saying
It's
here
true.
in Miami. It's become.
It's almost like a Google.
Yes, like
Right?
how Google became a verb,
Right.
Only in Dade did, and that's enormous what they've done with it. But Only in Dade, the Instagram page has, and of course, you evolve.
You have to.
They've had a lot of posts where it's kind of like, okay, what do you guys think about this, right? And I have to tell you that the comment section of Only in Dade, if you think that Twitter is a dumpster fire, the comment section of Only in Dade has become like the cesspool of Miami. Like, I read it and I'm like, yeah, I know I totally know who's like, who are the type of people that are responding in this.
Right.
And it's just so negative.
Yeah,
It's
sad.
just so negative. And it's so unfortunate because Only in Dade is a page that, like, I think it brings people joy that is very unique to
Right.
us.
It allows us to laugh at ourselves.
And I think that the intention, even behind the posts that Only in Dade does put out that are more engaging,
Yeah.
I think the intention is probably some sort of Miami humorous banter, if I will.
Right.
If I'm best, I mean, but it's become like people are so negative that comment on there, and it's like, dude, relax. First of all, it's the Only in Dade Instagram. You're supposed to be having a good time. Like, why are you so mad, bro? Like, why are you so mad? And la gente ahí van y te van a arrancar la cabeza. And I'm like, dude, calm down. It's
okay.
It's okay. It's the Only in Dade
okay.
comment section. Have fun. Laugh. Say something silly. Say una comedia, but not like all this, like, and then people start getting super political. And I'm like, literally, they were talking about potholes. Like, I mean, how did we get from here to there? So,
You should not turn, the cotton candy at the youth fair into a political debate. Like,
yeah,
this should not take that turn.
And sometimes, like, when I see them post Only in Dade, the more engaging,
Right, like
IG
the
posts,
question ones,
right?
right.
I'm like, oh no, here we go. Like, I know they probably wanted, again, some amusing Miami banter,
Right.
But it's gonna turn into una chusmería. No, una chusmería
una
would be
an
fun.
improvement.
No, it's gonna turn into una piñacera.
Yeah, a chusmería would be an improvement.
A chusmería is what we actually want.
Yeah. Let's scale it down to chumeria.
Right.
Let's make
and
it
you know
chumeria.
what? And you know what? I even think it's sort of, that's why in a part I understand what Only in Dade is doing, because I feel that especially now that we say so much that Miami's in a crossroads as, like, to all the people that have moved down
Right.
here. And, in a way is losing its identity. It's becoming too corporate and too New York, whatever. I feel that Only in Dade, on top of it, the content being just so funny, it's a if you know thing. People from
it's trying to keep it real.
transplants from other people from other
Aren't
parts of
gonna
the
get
country that live here are not going to get
they're trying to keep it
most
real.
of the content from Only in Dade.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's why I think that a lot of the posts that they put that are more engaging for people to talk about are about things that only people that have been raised here and know Miami will have an opinion on. And it should be a forum that people just go and have fun, as I said, and say
check your
silly
brain,
stuff,
yeah.
say some chumeria, some witty Miami crap. But no, instead it turns into this whole, like, whoa, what is this?
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, that escalated quickly. So, again, we're talking about potholes, and somehow this turned into talk about communism.
Well, we have said all roads lead to communism
Leads to
here.
communism. So,
Yeah.
I don't really know what you were talking about in terms of Netflix.
You have no clue. I've only been, like, rampaging about this for months.
I feel that that's one of those things. That's like if right now I wanted to talk about a fee simple absolute with a possibility of reverter. I feel that's a very you thing because of your career.
But I feel like I could probably put on my Law and Order hat and figure out what you're saying.
No, because a fee simple absolute with a possibility of reverter is in property law.
Oh, okay.
So unless they've had
An episode about property disputes.
Oh my gosh, you know what's so hilarious about it's hilarious. In law school, you have to take usually your first semester, definitely your first year, you take property. And usually it's divided into property 1 and property 2. You take it another semester. And in the first semester of property, you learn like the fundamentals of property, like tracks and how they used to record back in the day, what like a title is, what a deed is, a warranty,
So
what
like 101
warranties. Yeah, like the very fundamental concepts of property law. And one of the things that you learn is called RAP, which is a rule against perpetuities.
Okay.
And that is no longer used in property. Most of the things you learn in law school are no longer used. But this in particular is no longer used. It hasn't been used in like 100 years or whatever. It just does not get used.
Not relevant.
It's not relevant. It doesn't get used. It's extinct, if you will. Right? And the professors will be the first one to tell you that. It's super complicated, the rule against perpetuities. Super complicated. It's that the person who is deeded in perpetuity has to wait 21 years in the lifetime. I don't even know it. Like, it's super complicated. Okay. And the professor is like, you're never going to use this in life. You're never going to... It has absolutely
like learn it for the test type of thing.
It's not related to anything, but we're still going to teach it.
Okay.
And I'm like, but why? So you know what I did? They were like, oh, it's going to be one question. I'm like, you know what I did? I'm like, that will be the question I got wrong.
Yeah, just
next.
That's it, next. Yeah, just call it a day.
But it's like a joke among law students. It's like, okay, they're making us learn rap, and they're the first one to tell you. It's not even that you're not going to use it. It's just that it doesn't exist anymore.
So it's just not relevant.
Right. And with todo lo que tú te tienes que aprender en law school,
para que te tengas que zumbar algo
que no existe ya. That's, whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, my God. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Back to school time, se acabó el verano. And even your mental health challenges seem to be back from summer vacation. Did you pack lunch for the kids? Are you doing everything to help them thrive in school? How do you find balance between work and home life? Not to mention back to school means que ya the holidays are around the corner. Stop. Take a deep breath and let BetterHelp get you back on the path to being mentally healthy. BetterHelp offers phone, video, text, or live therapist chat sessions. You pick the option that best fits your schedule. After all, it's your mental health, right? Plus, it costs a fraction of in-person therapy sessions, which is a good thing porque those back-to-school supplies are not cheap. And as a special offer for Pero Let Me Tell You listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/pero. BetterHelp is already more affordable than in-person therapy, and now you can save on your first month. Look, more than back to school time, it's back to you time, and BetterHelp can help you take the first step on that path. That's betterhelp.com/pero. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. I have no idea why I just thought about this, but I totally had a thing happen at the gym that I thought would be great to share on the show.
For the show and only in Dade.
Yeah, probably at only in Dade too. All right. So whatever. So I love going to the gym. I'm at the gym. And that for some reason, I don't think I've said this on the show before. I'm trying to change my face because I feel like my face is too approachable to the point where people just come up to me and start talking to me even when I have like headphones on, glasses.
So you have the opposite of resting bitch face?
Right. I have happy bitch face. I don't know.
You have active engaging face.
Active engaging face. I have AF.
Yeah.
Okay. So AEF, right. So whatever. It's just this. I mean, again, and I'm talking like I've got headphones on. I could have glasses, a hat, a hoodie, like, and people would still just come up to me and ask me questions. So I'm coming out of the locker room, going to the treadmill area, and I'm walking. Again, I have my headphones on, and I'm wearing one of my tank tops, but I'm wearing the one that's like, it's a black square cut. I've probably worn it on the show before. It's a black square cut tank top, whatever.
We know which one.
So I'm walking up. It's great. It frames my shoulders perfectly. So I'm walking,
if
whatever.
you say so.
And I do say so. It's called self-confidence. And then this guy who's, okay, he's on the treadmill, and it's one of those situations where I can't tell if he's in his 50s or he's a recién llegado late 30s.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Were his eyebrows plucked?
I don't know because they were very thin. But like hairless thin, not like pluck thin.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so whatever. So he's on there. He starts motioning to me like, "Hey, oye, hermano." And I'm like looking behind me, and I'm like, "Oh God, es conmigo la cosa." Fine. So I take off my headphones. I'm like, "Oh yeah," we're like, "Oye, ¿dónde tú compraste la camiseta esa?" Mind you, a basic black tank top. So I'm like, "Oh no, esto me lo compré en Amazon, you know." Y como ¿cuánto cuesta? Ahora I'm like, "Bueno, vienen como traje un paquete, you know, no sé, como unos 10 y pico, no sé." He's like, como 10, 20. And I'm like, "Bueno, yeah, más o menos." Again, I don't know. I don't remember these things or whatever. And he's like, "¿Pero dónde compraste?" I'm like, "No, en Amazon." He's like, okay, en Amazon. Pero es que yo no sé cómo usar esas cosas en Amazon. And I was like, does this man think that I'm about to help him make an Amazon purchase?
I think he was.
And then he ended it by saying like, you know, "No, pero eso lo venden en el Dolphin también." And I was like,
That's great.
I don't know, pero en el Amazon. And he was like, "Oh, okay, está bien, whatever." And I just put my headphones back on and I kept on going. But I was like, again, my whole thing was like, okay, were you expecting to ask me where I got it from and then have me literally pull out my phone and be like, "Here, let me show you step by step how to get to the purchase"?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
How do I change this face? How do I not be as engaging?
If I would have been in that situation, I would have very dramatically taken off my headphones. Like very like yes. like yes. I mean, that's something similar. Speaking of headphones, actually it was this week. I was at 7-Eleven, as I usually go, and the lady who works there, I'm there paying, and she tells me, "Ay, mijito, mira, me encontré estos audífonos." It was like AirPods. "Ay, no se me conectan con el teléfono. ¿Cómo esto se conecta?" And I'm like, "Do you want me to pair your Bluetooth?" I actually did.
Okay, well, you're a better person than I am. Because I was not going to help this man open an Amazon account.
And I was like, mira, she goes, "Dame el teléfono." And I'm like, "Mira, tienes que encender aquí, darle a la B, que es el Bluetooth." And she's like, "Pero yo eso lo hice." And I go, "Sí, pero tienes que apretar este botón para que busque los devices." And you know what happened by mistake? Because I had my NFC on. I paired my phone to hers by mistake. Because I by mistake paired my phone when it came out on her screen. I was like, delete. I was like, forget. But I was able to pair her earphones.
Okay.
Yeah, and then she gave me the whole story of how she got the earphones.
Well, you're a nicer person.
Do you know how she got her earphones?
Didn't she just find them on the floor?
Yeah, la hija se lo encontró en el aeropuerto.
Bueno, okay. Well,
there weren't AirPods like.
But who cares?
AirPods.
They were free.
They were a knockoff brand.
They were free,
right? But you know, she proceeded to tell me, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's great."
But yeah, I just want to have more of an RBF. I don't know I don't know what kind of.
Yeah, that happens. I remember when I was
no, but like it always happens. Like people will be like, "¿Cómo se usa esto?"
During my heavy gym days, like I would say a complaint all the time. I'm like, do I have a shirt on that says gym spotter? Because people will be like, "Bro, can you spot me? Bro, can you spot me? Bro, can you spot me?" And I'm like, is there a shirt? Like, does somebody put a Post-it on my back that says, "I will spot you"? Because like sometimes I would be like, when I mean working out, I'd be like mid-set. And like, I wouldn't want to make eye contact with people.
I don't.
Because I'm like, if I make eye contact with them, they're going to ask me to spot them.
Yeah,
and
can't.
It wouldn't fail. It would not fail.
No.
And I'm like, oh my God. And then I don't want to be that person. Be like, no.
Right. Because that's the thing. If you're caught in that situation, then you're the asshole. Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm just like, I want to learn how to do RBF better.
Okay, well, the strike is over.
Does that mean that I can do the RBF better now?
No, the strike is over, as you said. Netflix has numbers they don't want to share. Oh well, yippee.
Is that what I'll just tell people so they don't talk to me?
No. I was actually going back to what you were trying to talk about.
Oh no, that ship has sailed. We've moved on from that ship.
You were talking about all this. I'm just looking at you and I'm like, I'm so not interested.
That's okay. That's okay because you know what? You can't be interested in everything I have to say.
Earlier today, when I was, obviously preparing for tonight's recording, I wasn't really coming up with many topics, and I was like, "Shit, I have like topic block."
Topic block. Is that a real thing?
I can't come up with that many of them, and I was thinking like, like maybe we should have an episode where we just talk about our favorite things, like Oprah did.
Oh, my favorite thing is Gail. Meanwhile, tú me pegaste el catarro.
I don't know catarro.
That's why you hear all the sniffling on this episode.
Tú sabes que tienes que hacer inhalaciones.
With what?
Tú no sabes what? Wait, what? Did you just ask me con qué se hace inhalaciones?
I've never.
Listeners, if our listeners could chime in now.
They're probably yelling at the.
You don't know how to make inhalaciones?
What is?
Okay, you got a pot of boiling water. You put like a teaspoon of Vicks Vaporru.
Oh, like a homemade
You
vaporizer.
let that shit melt in there. You stand over the hot pot of boiling water that is like 2 inches off your face. You put a towel over your head and you breathe that in.
I've never done that.
Oh my God, that is everything that I did. And my mom's like,
did that.
respira. And I'd be like, and she's like, respira más profundo. And I'd be like, and she's like, respira. And to everybody, she's like, "Tú tienes catarro, hacer inhalaciones."
I've never done that.
See, whenever I have a cold, till this day, I'm always like, "Oh no, she's gonna take." And my mom has a pot of an old pot that is the one she uses for the
It's the inhalation pot.
Yes, yeah, the inhalaciones. And I'm like, this is so dangerous porque this has a handle. One wrong move of the handle, and I'm gonna get boiling water all over me.
Or if it boils too much.
And I was doing that shit as a kid, like. Look, as a kid, she would stand by me. You know,
still,
you have a towel over your head.
Boiling water doesn't care who's standing next to you.
You have a towel over your head.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And she's like, respira.
Nope, never did that.
Oh my God, that was like when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I got like really bad dandruff, like bad that I had to go to the dermatologist bad.
Oh, okay.
And like, because I was like even bleeding.
Oh,
Like,
shit.
It was that bad. Yeah.
Okay, so no sauce and blue.
And they gave me some medicated shampoo, and my mom would be like, you know, not that she would bathe me, and
Right,
like
right.
I would be in the bathtub with like underwear,
Right.
but she'll be like, "Restrígate la cabeza." And I remember, I'll never forget.
I want that as a ringtone.
That she went to Sally Beauty Supply and she bought this thing for you to like wash your hair that is like a torture contraption that you couldn't even put your finger in the middle of it to like really like grab
What
onto
kind
your
of
finger.
Marquis de Sade thing is this?
Yes. And like she would like pass it, like comb it through my hair. It looks like a torture device. It's like a plastic oval looking thing that in the middle you could put your finger and it's to like wash your hair, right? Or some people use it to detangle your hair, but it's like
Okay.
and
yes,
she'd be
yes,
like,
yes.
and she'd be like, "Restrígate la cabeza," and I'm like, I still hear that like echoing in my mind.
I saw you transport as you said it.
Yeah.
You had a little PTSD there.
Yes. And no, and you know, it's so funny that a few years ago, you know, all those years that my hair was long,
Right.
my mom would be like, "Tú te estás secando el pelo después que te lavas la cabeza. Porque yo sé las trasturas que tú haces. Yo sé que tú te lavas la cabeza, te das el pelo húmedo y así tú como te enfermas."
It's true.
Like, así es como te enfermas. Tú debes de pasar el blow dry, por lo menos para secarte el pelo un poquitico.
And if there's one thing that I know from firsthand experience, your mother is very good at, it's blow drying her hair.
Yes, my mom will. Yes, it's a thing, listeners. I feel that the thing of my mom blow drying the hair is such an inside thing that even if we explain it, like
Right,
people
yeah.
are not gonna get it. But
Yeah,
basically, you know, it goes back to not even like when we used to go out during college, like in high school. You know,
Yeah.
my friends usually would come to my house on Fridays. And then, you know, obviously during our college years that we went out, everybody would always meet at my house. So, you know, always my friends, it's not that they knew my parents the best, but my house was always a house.
It was
everybody met
the reunion
and it
point,
didn't
yeah.
matter when you would go on the weekend.
Nope.
My mom was always blow drying her hair.
Nope. She was not getting pneumonia.
No, so she was always blow drying her hair. And because, you know, she sits there with her round brush to blow dry her hair straight. And, you know, and it's a thing.
When I think of your mother, the first thing I think of is blow drying her hair.
See?
A blower.
Yeah.
That's what I think of when, like, if you tell me, like, Neri Borges, I'm like, she's blow drying her hair.
But you know what, though? I got that from her because it doesn't matter. Even if, like, my hair is, like, 1 millimeter short, I blow dry my hair.
Really?
Did we just meet?
No. But like, I mean, that short.
I
like,
have 3 blow dryers. Like,
No. I get it, but I'm just saying, like, because you've shaved your
when
head.
I've shaved my head,
You've
that I
shaved your
have
head.
like 2 millimeters. That
Yeah.
I'm at a 1.
Right,
at
yeah.
a 1, I blow dry my hair.
Excuse me.
Like I get out of the shower, or like for example, if I'm gonna get dressed or whatever,
Right.
I will blow dry the little hair that I have.
That's so funny.
Yes. And that's why it's funny because there's been so many times that I've been at your house and I'm like, "Do you have a blow dryer?" And you're like,
Yeah, why would I have a blow dryer?
And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, how could you not?"
Yeah, it's like I have tres pelusas. What am
I'm like,
I blow drying?
I don't care if I have 2 pelusas. I will have a blow dryer. Listeners, don't you all have blow dryers? Even the people that are bald. Like, don't you have blow
Why do
dryers?
bald people have a hair
Because
dryer?
you need a blow dryer. Sometimes you want to dry your head mechanically. I'm not kidding. You need a blow dryer. Sometimes you want to dry yourself down there. You know, you need a blow dryer. How can you not have a blow dryer?
I don't need one. I don't need one. My hair is like dry within like 10 minutes after I get out of the shower.
Ugh, if we could only be so lucky.
No, because it means I have hardly any hair.
Eso es okay, what you think. Even with the little hair that you have, if you wash your hair and you towel dry it, you need a blow dryer.
I do not need a blow dryer.
Especially if you're going to style it.
What styling am I doing?
I even blow dry my hair when it's dry. To style it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, well, you wake up in the morning, you have bedhead.
To style it. Okay, to style it. So I'm just picturing you just being like, my hair's dry, let me just pasarle blower for fun.
And you know what? I am that person that like many times when I travel, depending on where I'm traveling and how much space I have, even though I'm going to a hotel with a blow dryer, I will take my own blow dryer because my blow dryer has 2,400 watts. I don't do 1,600 watts. For 1,600 watts, para eso I wait for the hair to air dry. I need the 2,400 watts. There's a difference, you know.
No, yes, it's the difference between blowing a circuit.
Oh, yeah, that didn't end very well. No, but there is a difference, and I feel that this conversation to you is what the Netflix conversation was to me. Yeah. You probably think all blow dryers are the same.
I mean, they are.
But they're not.
It's a Con Air. Just go for it.
They're not. Some of them are as weak as 1,000.
I don't know what that means.
That is how hot and how intense the air is.
But is that like 1,000 like degrees? Like what is it?
I want the blow dryer to be spitting out lava when I use it. Like I was like, oh, okay. Like so, you know, we have a friend.
Yes.
That she's all about the blow dryer.
This is who I'm thinking of right now.
She's all about the blow dryer. Yes. That she knows what a good blow dryer is.
I'm surprised that she doesn't travel with like the one of the peluquerias.
And
like,
we have just spent 5 minutes talking about blow dryers.
5, probably more.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, and I used to go to that Unisex with my mom.
Yes.
Because my whole family went to la misma Unisex. People don't say unisex anymore.
They don't.
I'm going to the unisex, which was pretty much.
It was.
It was
everybody. Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't a barbershop. It wasn't like
a peluqueria.
Right. It was, you know, unisex.
Yeah.
Iba la familia completa. I remember like being a kid, and when they would put that big blow dryer over a women's head.
Yes.
Like I remember thinking like there was like little people in there that would like blow air, and that's
how they got it.
Yes, that was my imagination. But even when I was old enough to know that it wasn't, I still sort of believed it.
But you know what? I want you to believe that.
Just like that, the can of the cleaner of the magic
scrubbing bubbles.
Yeah, to me the scrubs.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm still a little disappointed when they don't come out when you squeeze the thing.
You know what I think? One of my favorite.
I don't care.
One of my favorite. Speaking of advertisement, we spoke about it at the beginning, which I think is genius. I think that one of my favorite ones of all time is a Mucinex. The fact that they made un cagajo a character.
Yeah. Oh, and they gave him a family.
And they give him a family and everything. And I love that in one of these, you know, listeners, you probably know which one it is. It's the Mucinex, the green, you know, cagajo.
Yeah, it's a cagajo. That's what he is.
Yeah, the green mucus, right?
I sit here dabbing my nose.
He gets blown away by when the person takes Mucinex. They've given him like a family. I love that in one of the commercials. He even has like his mother, like or grandmother, in like in a frame.
Oh yeah. This is a full on like family. There's a story.
They've given him a personality.
They have.
Like, how did that meeting go? So we have a mucus,
right? And we're gonna make him have a personality.
Yes, he's gonna wear a top hat and everything.
Yes, he's a frustrated salesman.
Yes,
very Willy Loman.
Yes.
I would have loved to have been in the room for that one.
Yeah. Sort of like I always say, you know, that old cartoon from the 60s, Space Ghost.
Yes.
Which is Space Ghost, and the evil villain was Zorak, which was a praying mantis. I always wonder, like, when they were, like, doing the treatments for, like, that pilot episode.
Right.
They were like, okay, so we're going to have a superhero that is in tights. But then
traditional hero,
the villain is going to be a praying mantis,
and it's like an army of them.
Yes,
because in the original, they were a lot.
Yes. For those of you who have not seen Space Ghost Coast to Coast,
yes,
I invite you to look it up on YouTube. It is so good.
It's a fever dream. It's
Zorak
wonderful.
is so good. I invite you all to listen to watch it. It's so good. Do you remember when I was really into it?
Yeah, I do.
It was like my wallpaper. I had T-shirts of Zorak.
You were like the biggest Zorak fan ever.
It was a praying mantis.
And I would not have expected you, of all people,
You remember
to
when
be
I used
such
to
a
call
fan of
you?
Zorak.
I used to call you and be like, I'm so into this. And you...
I'd be like, really?
Yeah.
You, of all people?
Yeah. Every now and then I
surprise me
with some of the things I get
every now and
into.
again you do surprise me.
Okay, so what were you going to bring up before I interrupted you?
Well, no, I brought it up. It's the tank top thing.
Oh, that was it?
That was the story. The story was the tank top thing, and basically how I just need to change so I don't have, so I need to learn how to do resting bitch face.
Okay. So what are our favorite things?
What's the song? Whiskers on kittens and bells on something. I don't know. That's a stupid song.
No. I didn't know until I was probably 30 all the songs that came out from
Sound of Music?
Sound of Music. I didn't grow up watching. I'm Cuban. I didn't grow up watching Sound of Music either. I didn't. I distinctly remember the episode of Full House. That it's like season 4.
Okay.
When they sing "Doe, a deer, a female deer." I remember I learned the song because they sing it in Full House.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
You thought it was
from
Full
Sound of
House.
Music. I figured it was from somewhere, but I didn't know. I don't even think I knew what the Sound of Music was.
You didn't have the frame of reference.
Yes. I remember when I went to Salzburg. I went to Salzburg when I was in college.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh my God, the Sound of Music." I'm like, "The Sound of Music is what?" Like, I knew that it was a movie. When was I going to watch The Sound of Music?
I don't know, but sometimes there are gaps in your
Do you think that my parents in Cuba were like sitting down watching Julie Andrews, dancing in a field of grass?
No, but I always feel like Julie Andrews is so international.
In communist Cuba in
No,
the 60s?
I know. I forget. Yeah, I forget.
70s,
Yeah.
Not so much.
Not so much.
Not so much. When was I going to watch it? All I watched growing up was Channel 30. We didn't have cable. It was Channel 33, Channel 39, La Novela.
Oh, yeah. No, because they used to play Sound of Music on ABC, like every Christmas or something like that, I think. Like the holiday season.
I didn't know. Do you know when I found out? Because I didn't really see Sound of Music because it just is a musical and I didn't care about it.
There's that, yeah.
I didn't know that Sound of Music had to do with the Nazis until a few years ago. They did the Carrie Underwood one on NBC. That I was like, why is there Nazis here? I didn't know anything about it.
It takes place in World War II.
I didn't know anything about it. It was not on my radar. It was not.
But that's okay. But that's just such a pop cultural thing.
I know, and I know I can hold my own with pop culture.
But that's why it surprises me.
But first of all, it was a musical, so I just by very nature I don't have an interest in musicals. Second of all, it was an old movie, you're talking to the guy who loves Dr. Zhivago.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there for you.
Nobody around me was into it. It's not like you're into The Sound of Music.
No, it's actually one of my least favorite musicals.
Nobody around me is into it. So, when did I sit down and watch The Sound of Music?
No, but for me, it's more about because of who you are. I feel like Sound of Music, because it's such a pop culture touchstone, you would have made it a point to watch it just because you would have been like, okay, this is part of pop culture. This is like one of those movies that everybody talks about. Let me just watch it and get it over with.
I learned a lot. I'm not saying this to be provocative or to be, to be insulting. When I was like in my early 20s, like 19 through 22, 23, because of work, I became very good friends with very, very good friends with a bunch of like white people. No, americano. Eran americano.
The way you said it.
Eran gringo, as American as it gets. And I became very good friends with them, and we even hung out. We went to California together. So I actually learned a lot from them in terms of like more traditional
those blind spots
pop culture. Like I remember that she was really into Lawrence Wells. That he had like a 70s
Lawrence Welk. Yeah.
Like
the one that they make fun of on SNL with Kristen Wiig with the
How the hell was I gonna know about that? Watching, Simplemente Maria and Rosa Salvaje growing up and Marimar. Like, do you think that my parents knew what that was?
That's true. And all fairness, I didn't know what Lawrence Welk was until SNL.
It was them that one time we were hanging out at one of my friend's house that she put on Willy Wonka. And I was like 19, 20, and I loved it.
Wow, really? That
Yeah.
late? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, so I got exposed to like a lot of like, I guess, white things that, you know, I didn't get.
Those white things.
Those white things I didn't get exposed to before. Like, but think about it. When would I have been exposed?
No, I know. It's just sometimes okay, so this is when like the differences kind of pop up that I forget about, which is like because my parents grew up in this country essentially. I mean, they came here very young. There's certain things that they just kind of grew up with, you know, and then obviously I was exposed to that you wouldn't have been.
I wasn't.
But then again, like I said, but because you are somebody who I know likes to be informed and seeks things out, that's why when these things come up.
But also remember, these were the days before Google. So there were no rabbit holes to go down. I mean, my rabbit hole was the World Book Encyclopedia.
And that had a limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was I going to learn about the Lawrence Welk show? Like... Eso era una cosa de americano.
No, Lawrence Welk is very white. Like that, honestly, I didn't know what Lawrence Welk was until the SNL parodies came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
that
like, estos trajes and all this band, pero ¿qué es esto?
That was such a formal show.
Yeah. Yeah. And I watched a lot of stuff with them, and I found, you know, I was exposed to a lot of like things that I was like, pero ¿qué es esto? Like, some of it I would roll my eyes and I'm like, oh, whatever. And then others I'd be like, oh, wow, I had never seen this before. You know, it's like, oh, what is this little...
Well, mira para allá. Look at that, listeners. 30 years of friendship,
like,
and I'm still learning new things about him.
The first time I ever saw that awful movie, what is it called? A Love Story?
With Ali McGraw.
Yeah,
and
love means
Ryan
never
O'Neal.
saying I'm sorry.
I think it's Love Story, right?
Yeah.
Where she dies at the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is such a white movie.
I've never seen that movie.
Right. I had never even heard about that movie. And I remember all these girls,
I had heard about it.
All these girls were like crying, oh my God, this is like my parents' like first date was to this
Yeah,
movie.
it's supposed to be very...
and I'm like, ¿qué es esto? Like,
I've never seen that movie.
But you knew about it.
I knew about it. Yeah.
I'm like, pero ¿qué es esto?
Actually, you know why I know about it? Because of Que Pasa USA.
Where's the reference?
Okay, when Adela's friend Caridad dies, so Adela then asks Antonio, like, si yo me muero, tú te vas a casar otra vez. And then Juana asks Pepe, and he says, what do you want me to say? That it will be another love story?
Oh, okay. And at that time, that wasn't that old.
Right.
We were talking before we started recording. I'm really enjoying being part of Que Pasa USA Roulette.
I love it.
So we said a couple of weeks here on the show, Sling TV, which is an app most people could probably download.
Yeah. You look for the free option when you download it initially. It's like in the corner somewhere. You got to click on it.
And they have all the episodes of Que Pasa USA, and they're constantly streaming. I mean, it's not like
it's a 24-hour channel.
You can't go and pick the episode. It's just streaming all the episodes. So when you put it on, you don't know what you're going to get. So it's like Que Pasa USA Roulette. Earlier today, I was telling you, I came across a travel agency when they want to go to Europe. Castles.
That's how me and Jose refer to Europe.
España Española. And there's so many things, like, even in Que Pasa USA, there's so many things now that I get that I didn't get when I was a kid. Like, in that episode, at the end, when they drove the travel agent like crazy, that Iggy goes to the travel agent, like, oh, you know, if I want to go snorkeling, where would you recommend? He goes, Loch Ness. Yeah. I didn't know what that was when I was a kid.
Oh, I knew about the Loch Ness Monster.
I was like, I don't even know what I thought he was saying.
He was just referencing something. Yeah. I don't know.
In that episode, when Manta comes in dressed like
Madame Butterfly.
Yes. That she comes dressed as a geisha. The part when Antonio's like, oye, Marta, tú has ido a una corrida de toro en España. And Adela goes, ella con tan bien que se conocen los cuernos. And she's like, I'm being insulted.
She's great. I know that she's wearing that while she's like maybe 7 months pregnant.
Yeah. That episode actually is real. That one is up there.
That's one of the top ones.
That one is up there. That when they want to go to Spain.
It's that.
Do you know what I did? Do you know how it's $30 a month? They were, it's $30 a month
Right.
times six,
Times six,
180. And I go, that's not that much money, $180 a month. I looked it up how much it would be with inflation.
I was gonna
it's
say.
like $750. I'm like, okay, that's
For a couple months,
for several years.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
that's different.
that's a lot to go to Yuri up.
To go to Yuri up, yes. And I think they were only going for like a week.
No, for 15 days.
Oh, verdad.
That's why at the end when they go, 15 días en San Agustín. I mean, Que Pasa USA is a gift that keeps on giving.
It is. It's absolutely just.
I wonder if there's anybody who listens to us that has not watched Que Pasa USA.
Well, I feel like maybe they started off that way, and after hearing us go on and on about it, and now that it's free on Sling,
Yeah.
they've probably looked it up.
Yeah.
I think Sling should pay us at this point.
Yeah. There's shows that just shows from the past that just nobody watches anymore. Who watches Simon and Simon?
I was thinking not about Simon and Simon the other day, but I was thinking about that
Who
the other day.
watches Hunter?
Actually, I've been watching Hunter because it's on Sling TV for free,
Okay.
and there's a Hunter channel.
Who watches Dharma and Greg?
That's a good one. And that's actually what I was like. The other day I was like, there's so many shows, especially nowadays, because mira, ante, when we had 4 channels, whatever was running in syndication, you know what? We were all gonna watch Dharma and Greg. But not anymore.
Who watches Dharma and Greg?
Like,
that's like, what show I don't think has done, like, nobody talks about watching or binging, and it was such a big hit when it was on in the 90s, was what is it called? Mad About You.
it's not on streaming.
But even before streaming
but
was
I'm
a thing, I don't recall ever seeing that show on syndication.
It was.
But it wasn't like that popular.
No. But it was in syndication.
That it lived on.
Yeah.
Like Friends, Everybody Loves Raymond, Frasier.
Mira, another one that I thought about the other day was Glee. Glee was such a huge hit. Nobody talks about it. Nobody, like, it's just so interesting.
But I feel like Glee is still too new.
Glee's about 10 years old.
Yeah, but I still feel like maybe a newer generation will catch up. But yeah.
But I don't know if but that's the thing. I don't know if newer generations are going to discover things the way that we used to.
Who watched Dharma and Greg anyway?
Somebody was watching. It was on the air for like 4 or 5 years.
Or Grace Under Fire.
I watched Grace Under Fire.
You watched Grace Under Fire?
I don't know what it, maybe
to me, Grace Under
I
Fire
like Brett Butler.
was a poor man's Roseanne.
And that's saying something because Roseanne was already poor.
Yeah.
I like Brett Butler.
Nothing against Brett Butler, but I mean, if listeners and if any of you, if most of you don't remember those shows,
that's okay.
You just proved my point.
That's okay.
And these were shows that ran for years.
That's the thing. It's not like a 1-season wonder. These are shows that ran for like a minimum, 4 years or so?
Yeah.
And again, at the time, it's not even shows that ran for 4 years and they were under the radar. No, it was for like 4 years and it was a hit.
Yeah.
They were hit shows. Disappeared, evaporated.
Yeah. Se evaporaron.
Yeah. It's funny. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, there's so many shows that nobody cares about anymore.
Yeah.
They just
like which ones?
No, I was just thinking, even things like, for instance, Growing Pains. Growing Pains isn't anywhere.
No, but Growing Pains was for a while. I agree. It isn't. But, like Full House is.
Right.
But Growing Pains was on syndication for a very long time.
Right. But it just seems to have, like, from one day to the next, it's like everybody just decided, we're good. Yeah. Because even Who's the Boss shows up on like the Roku channel. Mm-hmm. You can find, they'll do it by seasons though. They don't give you the whole thing at a time, but it's there. Oye, mi gente, us caribeños know we need to stay refreshed cuando hay tremendo calor. Bueno, Cawy Lemon-Lime soda's got you. Since 1948, this crisp and refreshing soda has been helping us beat the heat. Cawy Lemon-Lime is like the taste of sunshine sparkling off the clear blue waters of Cuba. Okay, bueno, for Miami. Y con zero aftertaste, the tart, sweet, bubbly Cawy Lemon-Lime is perfect for quenching your thirst. Así que what are you waiting for? Find the authentically Cuban taste of Cawy Lemon-Lime soda in stores now.
So all this talking has made me thirsty. And if you're thirsty, we're going to have a Cawy.
Yes, we are. It's going to be the Last Cawy Lemon-Lime of the desert.
Yes. crisp and refreshing.
Yes. I mean, again, like you said, people say crisp and you're like, what does that mean? And
Yeah,
here we are.
And you know, and for those of you who know Cawy, you'll know what we're talking about. For those of you who don't, it's a soda with a long history. Like this week we were doing a promotion with Pim Pam Pollo with Cawy, and so many people came up to us and they're like, "Oh my God, we're so happy that it's back. We loved this as a kid. My parents loved this." Like I remember when I told my father that we were working with like Mateba and Jupiña and you know the Cawy bottling, he was like, "Can you ask them when they're going to bring Cawy back? Because you know it really is
flavor.
It really is a drink that it has a tradition and a heritage to it." So
absolutely.
Our last Cawy of the desert. Well, my last Cawy of the desert goes to Fisher Price.
Oh, okay.
One of our favorite toys. So Fisher Price's Little People.
Oh, I love the Little People.
What Little People did you have? I had the barn.
I had the airplane. The
Of
airport.
course, you had the airport. I had the barn. Do you remember that the barn door, when it would open and close, it would make a noise?
Yep.
Yeah. I had the barn. Well, anyway, the Fisher Price Little People, they're coming out with like a collection of El Chavo del Ocho.
Aww.
And I would
That's
love,
awesome.
I don't know if they have a Chapulín Colorado,
Not yet, probably.
but I would love if they do. But just the Chavo del Ocho is one of those other shows that, again, that show is what, 40 plus years old? And I still watch that and I crack up.
Like an idiot.
I crack up.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's, you know, because that's a Mexican production.
Yeah.
But that goes to show when something is funny, it doesn't matter what nationality you are or what your sense of humor is. Funny is funny. And el Chapulín Colorado is just, I'm sorry, el Chavo del Ocho, el Chapirito is it's just so funny. Who's your favorite?
Actually, my favorite was a Chavo.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked the Chilindrina,
Well, who
of
doesn't?
course.
Yeah.
And I loved the two guys. La gente dicen que tú y yo estamos locos. Que daba la chiripoquia.
La chiripioca. I love the music from all of it. From a Chavo, from a Chapulín. Man, they all started with the CH.
Yeah. I always, when I was living in the Midwest, I never did it, but I always said, I would love to be dressed like a Chapulín Colorado, right? Full gear. In red with a little
antenna,
the antennas, that I will walk in, because when I was in my Michigan years, I went to like a lot of Halloween parties.
Yes, you did.
Right?
You did.
I will walk into that Halloween party and it'll probably be crickets. Nobody will have any idea what I'm dressed up as.
One of my cousins was a
here in Miami, I'll be the belle of the ball.
They would make you a Rey Lacayo Ocho.
There, be like, why are you in red tights?
I think you have to explain that you're the red cricket.
Yeah, that gets small.
Yeah,
but does, you know,
it's now they've taken the fun out of it.
Yeah. So my last Cawy goes to Fisher Price for, you know, that's a big deal. You know, the Little People is like a very, very iconic toy, and to recognize such an iconic, that is a properly used,
took the words out of my mouth.
Iconic, such an iconic character, such an iconic show. You know, Hispanic Heritage Month.
There we go.
Is very in touch with, you know, with this month, and it's the proper way. I think it's a very smart and proper way of
paying homage,
of, you know, paying homage and, you know, the legacy of that.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Absolutely.
last Cawy for them.
Absolutely. So my last Cawy is going to CVS.
Oh,
now why is it going to CVS? It's not because they've shortened their receipts.
they have
not. Now, you know, every year when Thanksgiving rolls around, you and I will always post something on Instagram that's like Happy San Givin. Well, at CVS, and I'm actually going to show you the pictures I took, there is an entire line now of Happy San Givin products.
Is this CVS Imas?
No, it was a regular CVS.
Oh.
Happy San Givin mugs, Happy San Givin turkey holding a little sign, and a little Happy San Givin table thing. And again, you know, being Hispanic Heritage Month and all that, I think it's so like, oh my God.
Somebody got it.
Somebody got it.
Somebody in that room making those decisions
was one of us.
Latin. Yes.
Was one of us, right?
Yes.
And I would be very interested, Pero Primos, those of you who are outside of South Florida, if this is also happening at CVS's in like LA, New York, and Chicago,
like
Texas, you know, if it's also
to
happening.
our listeners and
Yes,
our
you have
faithful
homework.
listeners in San Antonio.
You have homework. But I just love it. I love the fact that, again, it's something that we've been saying forever amongst just ourselves, and now it's been recognized. And I know it sounds cheesy as hell, but there's some little like spark in me that sees that
because
and says,
the whole San Givin thing is
we're
sort
part
of
of the
like
conversation.
An inside joke among us, like, oh, happy
Right.
San Givin. And to be, that's why I asked, was it an imas?
No.
But to actually have properly made things with that,
Yeah.
it's like somebody got it.
Yeah, it's a weird form of recognition.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it.
Somebody was in that room, again, making decisions that...
It was one of us.
Yes, so that is very
Absolutely.
good.
So I love it. I'll post pictures of it on the Instagram,
anyway.
listeners.
Well, everybody, that was episode 270. We hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your pastelito, your croquetica, and your cawy.
Yep.
And thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great weekend. See you next week.
Cuídense, mi gente. Bye. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.